Governor Akeredolu orders immediate dismissal of civil servants caught receiving double salaries as verification committee recovers about 500 million naira. Akure residents fume over slow pace of clearing weedy road median and public places in Ondo State capital. 4 days after Osrc gubernatorial poll, INEC presents certificate of return to Senator Adeleke. And on the foreign scene, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe takes oath of office as new president in Sri Lanka. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the news tonight. My name is Timileyin Falade. The governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has ordered the immediate dismissal of workers caught receiving double salaries from government payroll. Receiving the report on the verification, scrutinization and cleanup of the state payroll, salary and pension in Akure, Governor Akeredolu commended members of the committee for also recovering about 500 million naira. The governor directed that all recruitment exercises be stopped pending the conclusion of the cleanup exercise. Government House correspondent Wahab Ankoli has details.
Worried by the level of decadence in the state public service coupled with fraudulent payroll, salary and pension system, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu inaugurated a 7-member committee to continuously clean up infractions on the payroll. The committee, headed by a retired permanent secretary, Mr. Victor Olajorin, commenced the work in October 2021. After a series of engagements, it was time for the committee to present its report to Governor Akeredolu. The chairman, Mr. Olajorin, thanked the governor for the opportunity to serve while highlighting some of their findings. According to him, the committee beamed its searchlight on the Teaching Service Commission and the Hospital Management Board for the first part of the assignment.
For the Teaching Service Commission, we identified that some officers were not actually there, some had retired, some were taking double salaries, some were taking pension and also taking salary simultaneously. So we had an observed loss of about 304 million that we identified in that instance. We went to the hospital's management board. We also identified some infractions. We have a case of an officer who also did a bad day in 2010, 50 years, and as at now he still says he has about 3 more years. He produced a brochure for the bad day. So we have identified the officer and he's been asked to refund some amount of money that's overtaken for the period which he was meant to stay. And there are some officers that we cannot even trace. We have a sizable number of them that we cannot trace. And so when we did our computation, we have about 192 million involved in that instance.
He noted that some officers enjoyed some allowances not due to them, while others were fraudulently receiving money from government after disengaging from the state public service. Mr. Olajorin said the committee discovered that distribution of officers in the Hospital Management Board is lopsided. Responding to the discoveries, Governor Akeredolu appreciated members of the committee for their courage and transparency.
The money in figure is not enough yet. We have overbloated workforce, and undoubtedly I'm sure there are many ghost workers, so many. And when you say people are paying money back, I want to say this here now. In addition to recovering salaries from those who are taking double salary, head of service, get them interdicted and dismissed. Because there is no way you won't know you are taking double salary. It's the only way to pass the message down that what you are doing is wrong. It's not only just to recover the money and you still retain them in service. Recover the money and get them sacked.
He described as unfortunate the level of decadence in the public service, noting that all recruitments be stopped pending the conclusion of the verification exercise. He charged them not to succumb to undue influences from the public. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Ondo State government says an educated, healthy and productive population is essential to reducing poverty and achieving sustainable economic growth and development. Deputy Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa made the remark at the maiden edition of the State Human Capital Development Steering Committee held at its office in Akure. The report. Consequent upon the inauguration of a Steering and Technical Committee of Human Capital Development Program by Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, the committee held its maiden meeting to improve the indices and recommend policies and programs. The Human Capital Development Program focuses on 3 thematic areas, which are health and nutrition, education and labor force participation. In his remark, the Deputy Governor, who is also the chairman of the steering committee, Lucky Ayedatiwa, thanked the technical committee for deliberating on strategies to quickly produce the state human capital development work plan.
Much has been done. I want to thank the technical committee for taking off so early to have put a lot of work place, like he was telling us all that they have done and the next thing that needs to be done. Most of the work has been done. What we have to do here is to actually consider this work that has been done by the technical committee, consider them, make contribution if there is any.
Ayedatiwa said the administration of Governor Akeredolu is focused on improving the human capital development of its citizens for inclusive governance.
A lot of work is on our hand, but we have started well. The objective really is to have a healthy, educated and productive citizen. And we know that human development capital is critical to poverty alleviation and citizen participation and economic growth and development in any nation.
Speaking to journalists after the meeting, the Vice Chairman and Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Pastor Emmanuel Igbason, said the committee is mapping out strategies to address the 3 thematic areas of concentration. Pastor Igbason said the draft will be reviewed and a strategic paper produced to address poor indicators of human capital development.
We interrogated the paper. The overarching objective of that strategy is for us to have a well-educated, functional, productive, and progressive and prosperous citizens in Ondo State.
It is expected that the Human Capital Development Program will improve basic areas of human development, including the education and health sector. Residents of Akure, Ondo State capital, have continued to appeal to government to make thorough the clearing of bushing median in the state capital, as some areas still need attention. Joy Pius, who was in town to assess the situation, reports that residents in areas yet to be attended to are hopeful for a speedy intervention from relevant government agencies.
Following months of neglect of the bushy medians along major roads in Akure, the Ondo State capital, residents expressed displeasure over the development which they say is not palatable for the state capital. OSRC in its previous reports spotlighted the unkempt median which spurred the Ministry of Environment, saddled with the responsibility to commence clearing of the affected areas. Some sections of the medians across the state capital, which were overgrown with weeds posing threats to pedestrians, have been cleared. However, other areas are still left unattended to. From the Cathedral axis down to Ondo Road, residents are hopeful of government's attention.
Looking at the condition of Akure as a whole, especially this area, Ishikon areas, this place is not good enough. It's not looking attractive, and I see that some areas they have been cleared, like the bushes. We want to beg our governor, Arakure Akeredolu, to help us clear this area, most especially because if we want to cross the road now, we'll be scared.
That before all this, they used to plant a flower to decorate the street, not all these woods. So we appeal to the government, to say government to help us on the environmental, to help us to clear the weeds, because it's very bad in the street. This is a state capital.
They neglected this place on court in the town, in the capital. It's very, very uncalled for. It's dirty, it's unkept. We are supposed to live in a clean environment, clean and healthy environment.
Igbó ìwọ̀nyí náà kan bá wa ṣí ọ̀nà àtúbọ̀ máa dì wọ́n mú wọ́n bá ṣe gbẹ kó dúró dáadáa. Tá a bá fẹ́ cross bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn a máa ń bẹ̀rù ní pé ejò lè wà lábẹ́ grass yẹn kéèyàn má mọ̀. Kán bá wa gé àárín ìlú láwa sí lábúlé.
The general expectation is for the grasses to be well maintained as part of efforts to beautify the landscape of a state capital, and if not wholly attended to, could rob the state of its urban renewal program. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
We'll take a break on the news at 7, 4 days. When we return, 4 days after gubernatorial poll, INEC presents certificate of return to Osun Governor-elect Senator Ademola Adeleke. Do stay with us. It's nice to have you rejoin us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. The chairman, OSRC Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, says all is set to relocate Orange 94.5 FM to the headquarters of a media organization at Orita Obele in Akure. The chairman said the decision is to make the media group function optimally in the face of economic realities. Our reporter, Joy Pius, now completes the story.
The challenge confronting public and private organizations globally, and particularly Nigeria, is the surging price of diesel. This has caused many businesses and organizations to fold up and many others to downsize. Ondo State Renovation Corporation is not spared by this global crisis, as its operations have been affected in recent times. Rising to the challenge, the management of the State Media Group moved towards solving the issues to ensure quality and uninterrupted service is delivered to the people.
Roughly something going to about 40 million naira.
Staff of OSRC Media Group, which comprises of Orange 94.5 FM, Sunshine 96.5 FM, Alalaye, and OSRC Television, converged on headquarters at Orita Obele to exchange views with the top management on ways to enhance its service delivery in the face of the current economic meltdown in the country. Speaking on the urgency of the decision, Chairman of the Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, explained that the 3 stations would be housed at the Orita Obele headquarters for more efficient operations at the respective channels. Mr. Adebayo said approval has been given for the harmonization of the 3 operational structures in place for greater benefit of the people of Ondo State.
What we are doing is not just about relocation of Orange FM. What we are also doing is about strengthening the capacity of Alalaye FM. Even though what government has approved for us is the relocation of Orange FM to this place. But what management has also done is to struggle and work hard within a very tight schedule to also strengthen the existing Alalaye FM. Therefore, as Orange FM would be coming here, Alalaye FM would also have the studio removed from where it is. Alalaye FM studio will now be in this complex.
The chairman therefore enjoined staff of the three arms to hone the argument for better understanding.
I urge you professionals who are here at the highest level and their subordinates to please understand what this government is trying to do. Understand what this management is trying to say.
The Director, Engineering Services Department, OSRC, Mr. Femi Ayekomilobon, who spoke on the advantages of bringing the stations together in terms of making content sharing an easy task, explained the new mechanisms to be deployed in the merger.
Having different stations in different locations is something that is quite expensive to manage these days, especially when you now place it vis-a-vis with the cost of power, which is already skyrocketing. We thought that the best thing that we can do now to reduce the running cost of this station is to co-locate them. When we co-locate, it reduces the cost of running power, generating power to run the station. It reduces the cost, even helps in the manpower welfare.
Staff present at the meeting commended the initiative with a belief that it will aid effective and efficient service delivery.
It's important that we cut costs so that we have more resources to actually do a lot of things. Secondly, it's also important that we make our operations seamless.
The issue of multitasking, it means that all our staff, both at the Orange, the television and Alalaye, will be able to work hand in hand.
The OSRC Media Group has been undergoing a series of transformations since the inception of the current administration, and with the new development, the Media Group is poised to break new grounds.
All right, that report was voiced by Tolulokwe Oyebode. Ondo State House of Assembly says it will continue to enhance easy access to justice by providing alternative mechanism to complement litigation in the resolution of disputes at a public hearing held on a bill for a law to provide for the establishment of a state multi-door courthouse. The Chairman, House Committee on Judiciary, Mr. Success Toku Kedrio, opined that the bill will assist in the dispensation of justice in Ondo State. Omoshileola Adesoya Ajayi completes the story.
The multi-door courthouse provides citizens with easy access to justice, reduce delay in justice delivery, and provide links to related services, making more options available through which disputes can be resolved. And gathered here are members of the judiciary and relevant stakeholders to meet minds on the bill with a view to have robust outcome that will serve the interest of the citizens. Speaker of the House, Bamidele Oleyelogun, urged them to feel free to ventilate their options with a view to further strengthen the judicial system of the state. The Chairman, House Committee on Judiciary, Mr. Success Torakarijo, who said the bill, when passed into law, will fast-track dispensation of justice in the state, promised that the lawmakers will do justice to the bill for the betterment of the judiciary and the people of the state.
Sure that we're able to do justice to this law and this bill, and as soon as we go through this exercise, to just go ahead to pass it into law, become a law of the state, for the benefit of the people of Ondo State. We're going to do justice, and in a very short while, we'll get through with it, and the cooperation of Mr. Speaker and other members of the House of Assembly become a living law in Ondo State.
Other stakeholders expressed belief that the bill will enhance easy access to justice by providing alternative mechanism to supplement litigation in the resolution of disputes.
We look at the bill page by page, and that clause after clause, so that we'll be able to find out any area we feel is at variance with the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. More so, if there's any innovation that can propel the dynamic of this law.
They observed that it will serve as the focal point for the promotion of the growth and effective function of judicial system through alternative dispute resolution methods. Omoshiliola Adesoye Ajayi, OSRC News.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has presented to the public former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as his running mate. Asiwaju Tinubu promised to work with his vice presidential candidate alongside his team to change the country for better. The event was held at Shehu Musa Yorodua Center in Abuja, justifying his choice of Shettima despite opposition to the Muslim ticket. Tinubu said he had considered principles that determine victory in politics with the determination to reposition the country for the greater benefit of all, irrespective of ethnic, religion and sex. The Independent National Electoral Commission has presented certificate of return to the Osrc State Governor-elect, Senator Ademola Adeleke. The presentation by INEC National Commissioner Professor Kunle Ajayi took place at Osogbo. In his acceptance speech, the governor-elect dedicated his victory at the poll to the memory of his late elder brother, Senator Isiaka Adeleke, and the people of Osun State. The presentation came about 72 hours after Adeleke was declared winner of Saturday's governorship election. He garnered 403,371 votes to defeat incumbent Governor Adegboyega Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress, who polled 375,027 votes. Meanwhile, a court of appeals sitting in Akure, Ondo State capital, has upheld the judgment of the lower court, which affirmed Osun State Governor-elect Ademola Adeleke as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for last Saturday's governorship election. Dotun Babayemi, a PDP chieftain, had contested the party's governorship primaries at the High Court, challenging the validity of a primary conducted by the national leadership of the party, but lost in the court. Not satisfied with the judgment of the High Court, he proceeded to the Appellate Court to challenge the judgment, but the Appellate Court also struck out his appeal today. Babayemi had taken Adeleke before a federal High Court in Osogbo, seeking to be declared as a PDP candidate for the July 16 governorship election in Osun State. Babayemi and Adeleke's factions of the party had on March 8 conducted separate governorship primaries. Babayemi was declared the winner of the primary election held at the Children and Women Development Center in Osogbo. On the other hand, the governor-elect emerged as the party's candidate at the primary election held at Osogbo City Stadium. In the meantime, the Nigeria Governors Forum has congratulated the governor-elect of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, on his victory at the poll. Chairman of the forum and Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi, in a letter, declared the support of the governors for the incoming member of the forum. According to him, the NGF looks forward to working with Adeleke and is committed to providing him with outstanding services in line with global best practices. The governors wished the governor-elect God's guidance, strength, direction, and wisdom to deliver on his mandate to the people of Osun State. Wife of Ondo State Governor Betsy Anyanwu says her life mission is to impact lives wherever she finds herself. This was the response of the founder of Fowoso to the surprise birthday party held in her honor by various groups led by the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Adebumi Oshadaun. Government House correspondent Omorin Olahungbeji has details.
Little did Mrs. Betsy Anyanwu know that she will receive early morning surprise when workers who unknown to her have gathered at the office as early as 7 a.m. to celebrate her. The governor's wife, who was just returning from her early morning exercise, sighted the whole staff from her office entering into the presidential lodge, Alagbaka, for celebration. Representative of each group took turn to speak on what Mrs. Anyanwu represents.
Come to us as a blessing, Yes, so even the political sphere. We voted for one. We got it.
We are here because you're a woman of strength of character. A woman who says it and mean it.
Thank you, Mommy, for being there for us. You have been a true mother to us. I say it's very touching. Yes, so make sure. Yes, like no, she doesn't take no for an answer.
Remember, Vivi, that thing always resounds. It resonates every time. He said, take care of my drivers, my police, everybody around me. I call you an amazing Amazon. Yeah. Speaking of hope for girls, for women, and generally for the children.
United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF in Akure also presented a birthday cake to celebrate the day.
And letter D. Go. Right. Can we appreciate our mother the most?
Reacting, Mrs. Ayawa Akredolu appreciated the gesture, saying it is a birthday full of surprise. She lauded the groups for their support and promised to continue to affect lives positively.
I've had a wonderful day, and I thank you all. I appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. It's good to know that people love you. Really, it's a good feeling. And apart from that, those who felt that I had impacted, still impacting in their lives. And I think that's the best way to live, actually. Touching people, making something meaningful in their lives just because you gave them just a little, it's a little finger, you know. Not that I did everything, but it's like giving someone a head start in life, and they took it and ran with it.
Born in Emiabiam, Owerri West local government area of Imo State in 20th of July 1953, Mrs. Betty Ayawa Akredolu, an aquaculturist, philanthropist and gender activist, is currently the wife of Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akredolu. Omoriola Humbiji, Osrc News.
Now moving to the foreign scene, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has been sworn in as president to replace former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who fled to Singapore following months of protests against him. In a brief statement from the president's office, the 73-year-old was elected with the backing of the disgraced former leader's party and took his oath of office before Chief Justice Yayanta Yayasuria. Official results gave the veteran politician 134 votes, an absolute majority in the 225-member parliament after Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country and resigned in the wake of protesters overrunning his palace. Before we go tonight, let's take another look at the major stories. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akredolu has ordered the immediate dismissal of civil servants discovered to be receiving double salaries from government payroll. The order was given when the Committee on Workers' Verification presented its report in Akure. Residents of Akure, Ondo State capital, have expressed displeasure over the slow pace of clearing weedy road median and public places in the state capital. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has presented certificates of return to Senator Ademola Adeleke. The ceremony was held 4 days after the Osun gubernatorial poll. And that's the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.